folks, for another experimental baking day. Today I'm going to have a go at making a loaf of bread in my slow cooker, which is going to be dairy free and contain nuts and seeds and another little ingredient. This is my second slow cooker loaf that I'm attempting. The first one I did was a resounding success, so fingers crossed that this one will be as well. Let's have a look at those key ingredients. So here they all are. Let me talk you through what's going into this. I've got 400 grams of plain white bread flour. I've got 100 grams of wholemeal flour. Now I'm not using any dairy, so I'm using olive oil instead of butter. I'm using Allinson's bread yeast. There'll be about 2 teaspoonfuls of this going in. And then my nuts are going to come from some chopped cashew nuts, which are unsalted, and some chopped walnuts. And my seeds are going to be some brown flax seed and some whole chia, kaya. How do you pronounce that? Someone tell me in the comment. Seeds? Chia? I'm going to say chia. And then I need to add 1.5 teaspoonfuls of salt, 1.5 teaspoonfuls of sugar, and then that mystery ingredient, which is lurking in here. So I've just eaten a banana, and I don't throw out away because I'm from Yorkshire. And this is the chopped banana skin, which has been soaking in water with a bit of chili powder in there actually. This is completely edible. It really doesn't have much flavour, and when you use it in cooking you barely detect it. It just adds a hint of something moist. It's a bit aubergine, if anything. It doesn't taste of banana, but it will add nutrition to the loaf, so why not use it? The nuts might make the loaf quite dry, so this might balance that a little bit. I don't think it's going to hurt. They're going in. I realise many people won't want to put banana skin in theirs. If you don't want to, just don't put that in. Right, are we to crack on with that recipe? I think so. So one key ingredient I didn't mention just then is water, and I need to make a yeast starter with water. I need 300 ml, and what I'm going to use is the water that the banana skins are in that's got a bit of chili powder in it. I'm just going to pour that through this sieve into this jug just here. Right, looking at this jug, I've got about 250 ml. I need to top this up to 300. I'm just going to put some warm water in it. And that's exactly on 300. That was a good guess. Right, I want to pop this in the microwave for literally 20 seconds just to take the coldness off it, so it's a little bit warmer for the yeast, which will make it happier yeast. So in it goes. Counting down. Right, that will do. Let's get this out. And that's now just taken the chill off that water. So into that water I'm going to add one of these, which represents a nice heaped teaspoonful of sugar, and then another bit more. That just gives the yeast something to get excited about. I'm going to give that a stir, get that sugar to dissolve a little bit, and then with a fresh teaspoon I'm going to add 2 teaspoonfuls of yeast into this liquid. Now this is where my brewing knowledge comes in, because I want the nutrient from the banana skin and the sugar to be found by the yeast, and for the yeast to get very happy and start a mini fermentation which will form a foamy krausen on top of this. So I've just stirred that in to get it going. Right, I'm going to leave this for 20 minutes. I want the sweet jug of banana water with the yeast in to get a nice foamy krausen on top. So while I'm waiting for that to happen, I've got something else to do. Unconnected to the recipe, but essential for the success of it. And my next step is to light my fire, because this will need heat and warmth for the dough to prove. So at the minute it's only 16 in my living room, which isn't warm enough for that. But if I can get the fire going, then I can put my dough just here to prove. So this device here I call my Pampered Chef Whopper Chopper. I don't actually know what the proper name for it is, but it's great at breaking down things like nuts. So I'm going to put a few of the cashew nuts inside here. And I'm not weighing it, I'm just sort of going to put a nice amount in. I don't know, there's maybe 20-25 nuts gone in there. So I'm not talking about loads, but there is a few there. And then I put this back on top, seal it shut, and then the extreme violence comes in, the best bit. And as I do this, blades are going down and it's rotating, and it chops the nuts. Let's have a look. Super! So I'm going to put those cashew nuts inside my Ninja food processor, and I'm using this today to mix my dough. And I've now got to do exactly the same with the walnuts. And again, similar amount of walnuts, maybe a few more. Shh, don't tell anyone. And then I put this back together, and once again, bash. Oh, we're stuck. Let me go in. And there's my walnuts. So they're going on top. So this should be nice and nutty. Now on top of my nuts, I'm going to add my flour. So this is the white flour. And then I'm going to add the wholemeal flour. And then I'm going to add what is the equivalent of 1.5 teaspoonfuls of salt. The salt actually acts like a yeast inhibitor. It prevents it from going too big. So it's actually quite an essential ingredient in bread unless you want it to grow massive. But I don't want it to grow massive, just big. I'm going to put my banana skins on top. So you can see the different layers that are in the Ninja. I'm now going to mix this up a little bit. Not tons, but just a little bit. And what I'm after is a consistent ingredient mix before I start adding the wet stuff. Right, I'm going to add a good dollop of olive oil in there now. This is meant to be the equivalent of a tablespoonful. And I'm going to do a bit more mixing. And then I'm going to add a little bit more. And do the same again. Now you'll see with the addition of that bit of liquid oil that the crumb has developed just a little bit more. So let's have a yeast starter update, and it's looking pretty good. Here it is. We have definite Krausenal activity there. This is happy chappy yeast. I'm going to get this liquid now into my flour mixture in the blender. So I've got a change of angle. I'm going to put it back onto mix, and I'm going to gradually add this a little bit at a time. And the crumb is definitely developing now. You can hear that, the struggle is real. That's good, that's what I want. Well done, Ninja, you've done your job. Off you go before you burn yourself out. I can't smell smoke. That's always a good sign with blenders. Right, what I've got to do now is the hard work, the labour-intensive bit, which is knead and bash this about for about 10 minutes. So I've got to get it out of here and onto my work surface. So I've got my rubber baking mat down. I'm just going to dust it with a little bit more bread flour, just so that the dough doesn't stick to the mat. It shouldn't do, but this will help it not to. So here's the Ninja food processor, and I need to get my dough out. It's going to be all in lumps and bumps and clumps, but I'll get it all out together, and you can clearly see the banana skin in there. So let's get all that out. Unpick it from the mixing tool. There you go, job's a good one actually. That's not bad at all. Right, so what I want to do first of all is to give this a bit of a kneading like so, and then after a little while I'm going to up the ante. I'll show you when I do, but in the meantime this is going to be 10 minutes, so I'm going to stick a podcast on. Real Dictators from BBC Sounds, I'll be back shortly. Right, I'm getting a bit more physical with it now. I really want it to feel the impact of what I'm doing. It will help when it comes to proving it. Oh, back in another couple of minutes. Right, I'm just coming to the end of the first big knead, and I think I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. It's a nice ball. So this is now going to go into a bowl. I'll show you that. Now here's the bowl, and you'll notice it's got water in. It's warm water because I didn't want to put the dough ball into a cold bowl. That wouldn't help it. So I'm just going to let that drain for a sec. And now in my bowl I'm just going to add a tiny bit more oil, and I'm going to get that with my fingers, and I'm just going to rub it around the edges of the bowl. That's good. And then this dough ball is going to go into there. Then I'm just going to take a tea towel and I'm going to dampen it under a hot tap, or wet it and then wring it out. I want some humidity in there. So this is warm and it's very wet, so what I want to do now is wring it out thoroughly. Okay, that will do. So one final look at the dough ball. There it is. Now I'm going to get my tea towel and I'm going to drape it over the top. Now this is going to go near the fire. So I've turned the airflow on the fire down so it's not raging, but it's nice and warm. And that is just perfect for my dough ball to prove. Doing it the natural way, it feels kind of nice. Right, I'm going to come back to you in an hour's time and we'll have a look at the dough ball then. In the meantime, I've got a bit of tidying to do. Right, I'm back slightly prematurely. It's been 30 minutes, but what I'm going to do is put the slow cooker onto warm, just onto warm, so it's on low. And I want to put that on for 20 minutes and turn it off afterwards, just so that that bowl gets a little bit warm, because the second proving is going to take place inside the slow cooker. So this has got 30 minutes left, but I'm sure you'll agree that's going to be quite happy. Right, this has been on for 20 minutes. I'm now going to turn it completely off. So when I put the dough in there in about another 15 minutes, it won't be too warm for it, because it's going to have the second prove in there. But before that, I'll need to do a little bit more kneading. Right, an hour has passed. It's time for the big reveal. Has it grown? Oh my God! It's massive! Oh geez, I wasn't expecting it to be that big. Right, I better give it another bit of a knead. I can't get over that. It's risen absolutely brilliantly. Wow. So once again, back onto my floured mat. Let's get this out. Oh, wow. It feels so light. It feels absolutely brilliant. Now another knead around. I don't want to overwork it, because that's not good. But I do definitely want to give it another minute. I'll come back to you when I think I've done enough. Now what I've got here is some baking paper. I'm just going to screw that up. This is called ruching, and it makes it easier to shape and mould now in the slow cooker. I've got holes in it, unfortunately. That's my fault. You don't need to know how it happens. Right, here it is. It's warm inside but not hot. And what I'm going to do is take this baking paper and I'm going to line the edges of the slow cooker with it. because I need to use this in order to be able to lift the loaf out. So it's going to cook inside the baking paper. I'm also going to add a little bit of oil onto my hands, like so, and then just rub that around the paper. So I want to avoid sticking and things like that. Right, I'm now going to get my dough ball and I'm going to put it in the bottom of here. And this is now for the second prove. And I want to push it as much as I can into the shape of the slow cooker, so it occupies all the space that's within there. And at this stage now, I'm going to put my seeds on top. So here's the flax seeds. Just going to rub them around and press them in. And there you go, the chia kaya seeds, whatever they're called, on top too. And again, I'm just going to push those into this. And I'm now going to put the lid on top for the second prove. And this is just a 30-minute prove. So I'll see you in half an hour. Right, it's 30 minutes later and the second proving has happened. And my word, that really has domed. It's now time to put this on. So what I'm going to do is remove the lid. I'm going to put the damp tea towel back on, and this has got a purpose now. And the purpose for the damp tea towel is to prevent any moisture which catches under the lid from dripping back onto the bread. So that goes on. I'm putting the slow cooker on high. That's it. Fire and forget. This is going to take between 2 and 2.5 hours to cook. I'm going to come back to it in 2 hours and have a look. So I'll catch up with you then. Right, so it's about 2 hours and 10 minutes later. Let's have a look. So you can see the moisture that's trapped on here. So I'm glad that this is in place so it doesn't drip back onto the bread. I'm going to take that off. And that drip there. Lots of steam coming off. It smells good. Oh, yes. Let's have a look. Oh, that doesn't feel like it's cooked enough to me. I think it needs longer. Yes, I'm going to put that in for a bit longer, I think. It smells absolutely brilliant, but it was just a bit soft on top. It wasn't quite right. So I'll give it another half an hour and come back to you. Right, 30 minutes later. Apologies for the background noise. The dishwasher's on, but let's have another look. So once again, I'm going to move that. Okay, is it still spongy? It's still spongy. I think that this is going to need a really good long while longer. It must just be that big. So, right. It didn't feel any different. It didn't feel any better. I'm going to give it another hour. Right, I'll come back to you in an hour. Right, it's now an hour overdue from what it should have been. I need to get it out. I don't want the bottom and the sides to be burnt if the top's not done, so I'm just going to shove it in my mini oven if it's not ready. So, turning the slow cooker off. Let's have a look at the texture. It just hasn't changed on top at all. So I'm going to lift it out and I'm going to have a look at it. Here goes hopefully something. Right, it's fine underneath and at the sides. I can tell straight away. In fact, it's overdone now. It's just the top. The top hasn't cooked. You can see there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in my little mini oven with just the top oven on. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a bit hard now because it's been overcooked. I really don't know why the top hasn't cooked. It is only my second slow cooker loaf. It's a bit frustrating. Hopefully this is still going to be salvageable and still be okay. We'll see. Right, I'm going to get it in the little mini oven. So I'm going to put this on quite low so it doesn't burn the top of it. I'm going to put it on top oven only. 30 minutes. I'll probably check back on it in 10. Right, let's have a look. I think that's done. I'm going to turn that off. Hopefully not burnt. Right, well, it smells very nice. I think the seeds on top have caught it, and it's caught there where the, yeah. Ow, oh gosh, that is blooming hot. I'm just going to put this over the sink because a lot of the excess seeds are just falling off. I'm just going to tip them off. Right, let me show you what I've got. So here it is. It's work in progress. Now, I've managed to catch it there, unfortunately, and burn that little bit. But apart from that, that top is now sound. What I'm concerned about is, have I overcooked it underneath and at the sides? And I won't know that until I cut into it and try it. So I need to let it cool down a little bit. If I get a chance tonight, I'll try a bit tonight. Otherwise, it'll be in the morning. So I'll catch you then. Okay, it's cooled down enough, so I am going to cut it and try a piece. Hopefully it cuts nice enough. Okay, let's have a look inside. So, yeah, it is nice and spongy, but the crust is overly baked. Unfortunately, that's a shame. Let's see what it tastes like. I'm getting these seeds everywhere. That was a mistake. Next time they go in it, not on it. It tastes really nice, by the way. Very nutty. Now, the crust is quite thick because it was in the slow cooker for so long. So that takes a bit of extra chomping. Taste is delicious. And that bit, once you get in it, it's nice and soft. It really is very lovely, actually. Taste-wise, it's a winner. I've just let the crust get too overly done underneath and at the sides because the top wasn't cooking. I'm going to cut another slice and have a look at that one. Now, looking at this one, this is really nice and soft. That is the thick part of the crust just there. That side actually isn't thick at all. The top crust isn't thick. It is just the bottom and that side of it. The bread inside it itself is lovely and soft. Oh, that's lovely. It tastes like really nice sort of artisan bread, which, well, I can't say that that's what it is because I'm not that good yet, but it's getting there. That was soft crust. So I'm going to say that it is a bit of a winner. It's not a complete winner, but it's a bit of a winner. It tastes really good. The texture inside is really nice. It's just that a bit of the crust is a bit too tough. Work in progress. Next one, I'll learn from this. So I'll catch you on the next film, whatever that may be. Thanks for watching this all the way through. I'm going to enjoy that now with a bit of jam on. No, my homemade marmalade that I made the other week. Right, see you later, kids.